recently had a big day of birding at Hagerman National Wildlife Refuge, which was somewhat surprising. As far as adding birds to my big year list goes, these are the lean times. Migration is nearly over, and it's slim pickings with finding local birds that I haven't already seen this year. The days of seeing a dozen or more birds in one day that I can add to my list are over until I travel to a different region. However, I was watching eBird and people were seeing several birds at the refuge which I hadn't yet seen, so I headed down there in hopes of seeing at least one or two. Not only did I add a few to the list, but I was able to observe the behavior of many species as well. The two species I had hopes of seeing were the white-rumped sandpiper and the stilt sandpiper. Of course, I'd hoped to see other species as well, but those two big year potentials were likely to be there. And the white-rumps were abundant, as they usually are for a short time during migration. The Cornell Lab of Ornithology reports that white-rumped sandpipers make one of the longest migrations of any North American bird, and sometimes fly up to 2,500 miles without rest. To me, that's fascinating. They eat mostly invertebrates, which they capture by probing their bills into mud, sometimes inserting the entire bill to do so. White-rumped sandpipers tend to forage in open areas. Then I saw a stilt sandpiper. It was one of the few left at the refuge. Stilt sandpipers winter from South Texas and well down into South America, and breed in the Arctic. Shortly after, I ran into a fellow birder who mentioned that he'd just seen two Caspian terns, which are a rare sighting at the refuge. I drove to the location and didn't find them at first, but returned later and found one hanging out with some other terns. The bird was way out there, so I couldn't get anything close to a good photo, but let me see if I can enhance this one. Enhance, 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 enhance. And now I'll just use my clearing filter and voila, a Caspian tern. In North America, these terns, the largest in the world, breed in various areas of the United States and Canada and winter mostly along the coasts of Mexico and in the Caribbean. Hanging out near the Caspian tern was a black tern, another big year bird. I thought I'd missed them for this year, so it was great to see one. When not breeding, black terns are mostly gray above and white below. However, when the breeding season begins, they have black heads and bodies with dark gray wings. Before leaving, I was a little bummed I didn't see a black-necked stilt that had been seen there the previous day, but at the last place I looked before leaving the refuge, there it was. Black-necked stilts spend much of the day wading in shallow water searching for food, which is mostly aquatic invertebrates, amphibians, snails, and tiny fish. They also prey on larval flies, soldier flies, brine flies, caddisflies, dragonflies, mayflies, crickets, grasshoppers, and many kinds of beetles. I love these birds. They have such a unique look. Also out and about were these spot-winged glider dragonflies. It appears they were helping each other to fly around. Teamwork. I like that. I'm kidding. Actually, they were, well, you know. But of course, those weren't the only birds I saw that day, just the ones I added to the list. Other birds I saw that day included the eastern kingbird, which is so elegant looking for a tyrant. A tyrant flycatcher, that is. The eastern kingbird was one of the first birds I saw that drew me into bird watching, but I'll have a separate story on that some other time. While watching the white-rumped sandpipers, I saw a flash of black and white come soaring in for a landing. It was a male black-bellied plover, nearly in complete breeding plumage, and he was accompanied by another, perhaps a female. I had never seen a male with that much breeding plumage. It was a real treat to observe and film this bird. At one point, while keeping a close eye on me as I filmed, a white-rump ran up and gave it quite the start. Zwip! I once watched for quite some time black-bellied plovers feeding with semi-palmated plovers. Both species were pulling worms from the mud. The black-bellied plovers would pull the worms from the ground, then walk over to puddles of water and wash the mud off the worms before consuming them. The semi-palmated plovers, however, did not. It was therefore my conclusion that black-bellied plovers are more sanitary than semi-palmated plovers. And on May 23rd, the black-bellies were also rinsing off their prey most of the time, as seen here. The white-rumps didn't bother with it. I also saw many least terns. I love hearing them as it reminds me of the beach. I even managed to capture this courtship ritual, in which a male offers a fish to a potential mate. Because I am a genius, I cut off the camera before she could consume the fish. Actually, it was quite far off, and with the sun directly overhead, I was having a hard time seeing what was going on. Least terns feed almost entirely on small fish. They catch the fish by diving, usually in fairly shallow water, often hovering briefly before making the dive. Why did the caterpillar cross the road? Why, to get to the other side, of course. And I saw dozens of them that day, all of which were those of the white-lined sphinx moth. The caterpillars were in various stages of growth, so they had different patterns and colors. They start out mostly black, then eventually turn green. I helped as many as I could to cross the road so they wouldn't get run over. However, these plump cats seemed to be a favorite prey for red-winged blackbirds, and I witnessed several getting picked off by the birds that day. I was also fortunate enough to find a single American avocet, which was feeding in the sunshine. I love seeing American avocets in breeding plumage. The rusty red neck and head, along with the blue legs, such a fascinating bird. The way these birds find food is also fascinating. They hunt for aquatic invertebrates in shallow water while wading or swimming, and capture prey by sweeping their bill side to side, a signature behavior called scything. With each step, they put their slightly open bill in the water and move it in the direction of the outstretched foot, alternating sides with each step. They also capture prey by pecking and plunging. Well, that's it for this trip. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.